So that was the Chatterbox, and no, that was not sped up whatsoever. And I have no words, so let's look at this build. So let's look at the Chatterbox first. So this weapon is normally going to have a 60 round mag, and if you use it that way, you can set your build up with more damage, but what we're going to actually do is we're going to sacrifice a little bit of damage so we can bump this mag up to 90 rounds. And this will allow you to miss a few more bullets before dropping your Chatterbox stacks. Now, I know we all don't have perfect aim, and there's actually several situations where enemies can actually act as a meat shield when you kill them, causing you to waste some of your magazine. And I just found that the bigger mag is easier to keep your Chatterbox stacks. So if we scroll down, I don't have any expertise in this gun. And then it's going to have SMG damage, crit chance, and then this attribute is going to be random. You're going to want damage to targets out of cover here. It's going to have the talent Incessant Chatter. When you reload, rate of fire is increased by 25% for each enemy within 15 meters for the duration of that magazine. Max stacks is 5. Kills refill 50% of your magazine. So this is how we tell if we have Chatterbox stacks. So if we ADS, you can see this number next to our gun. This is telling us that we have 6 enemies that are within the Chatterbox's range. Now if we reload, we're going to get this little icon under our ammo bar that looks like lips. And it's really hard to tell, but there's actually a number 5 in there. So right now we're at max stacks. So now if I shoot one target, I'm going to have 5 enemies. So if I reloaded again, I would still have max stacks. So now as long as we don't reload, you'll always have these stacks. You can even fast travel to missions, control points, and dark zone gates. And even if you die, you'll still keep your stacks, just as long as we don't reload. The one place we can't fast travel though is safe houses. If you fast travel to a safe house, it will take your stacks from you. So because the talent refills 50% of the magazine on kill, as long as you can kill enemies with roughly around the top 2/3 of your magazine, you'll pretty much have infinite ammo with no reloads. The one problem you will run into is tank enemies. They're going to be able to most likely eat your entire clip, and you will most likely drop your Chatterbox stacks against tanked enemies. So I'll give you some tips and tricks at the end of the video to get your stacks back if you do drop them. So now back to the build. So for the secondary, you can use whatever you want. Since this is a Hunter's Fury build, I'm just going to use the rock and roll shotgun, but I never really use it. For the gear, we're going to be using the Ninja Bike backpack so that we can run 3 pieces of Hunter's Fury and get that 4th piece bonus, and 2 pieces of Brazos and get that 3rd piece bonus. So if we look at the Ninja Bike backpack, we're going to have the 3 core attributes, and then I'm going to have a crit chance mod on here. For the first piece of Hunter's Fury, let's look at the mask. It's going to have the talent Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your weapon damage against them by 20%. Killing a debuffed enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters, and amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. This is going to be great because we need to get in really close in order to get those Chatterbox stacks. And we're going to have weapon damage, and crit chance. For the gloves, we're going to have weapon damage, crit damage. And for the knee pads, we're going to have weapon damage, crit damage. So now the chest, we're going to be using the Brazos chest. And this brand set is what's going to be bumping our magazine from 60 rounds to 90 rounds. And this chest piece is probably going to be the hardest to get in this whole build because this core attribute is going to natively roll armor. So what you need is to have the attributes roll crit chance, crit damage, and ideally obliterate so that you can roll this armor core to a weapon core. And you can see mine is very unideal. I have weapon damage and skill damage, but this is the best one I have. So the second piece of Brazos we're going to be running is the Picaro's holster. Now this core attribute, it's either going to be skill tier or armor. We're going to want armor. This attribute right here is going to be random. I rolled crit damage on here. And this second attribute is going to be weapon damage. For the skills, I'm going to be using the Banshee Pulse, which you're going to need the Specialization Gunner to use. This is going to be great when you don't have Chatterbox stacks. You can run right up on enemies and disorient them, and it will give you a little bit of time to reload and get those Chatterbox stacks. And I'll give you a quick example of what I mean here in a minute. So for the mods, I have Radius and Effect Duration. For the second skill, you can use whatever you want. I use the Crusader Shield because that's just the way I like to play. It's going to have Expertise level 20 in here. This is going to give me an extra 20% active regeneration, and it's going to have active regeneration on the mod and a holstered regeneration on the other mod. So if we take a look at the stats real quick, we're going to have 54% crit chance and 120% crit damage. And then we're going to have 1.1 million armor. For the seasonal modifiers, I'm going to be using Overdrive, Critical Recovery, Critical Momentum, and Fortified Shield. And lastly, the specialization is Gunner. This is going to allow us to use the Banshee Pulse. It's going to give us a little bit armor on kill. It's going to make our armor kits repair us instantly. And then we're going to have SMGs selected for 15% increased SMG damage. So now for a few tips and tricks. So when you don't have Hunter's Fury stacks or Chatterbox stacks, you're actually fairly weak. So here's one little trick you can do if you happen to be at the White House. So you can see I have no Chatterbox stacks. My RPM is super low, but I'm within range of 5 targets. So I can just reload, and then I can go to the map, and we can just go fast travel to wherever we want. And now we'll at least have maximum Chatterbox stacks when we start a fight. Now my second tip is, since it's not always practical just to go back to the White House to get your Chatterbox stacks, and you will drop them quite frequently, when I'm running up on an activity, I'll just shoot the ground with one bullet right before I get there, and then I'll run up and hit them with my Banshee Pulse so I can get right up in there. Then I'll reload and then start shooting. So that's the build. It's super fun when you can get the crazy RPM and the infinite ammo and no reloads. Try it out and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Engaging! Detected. Who's out? Reinforcements incoming. Detecting additional hostile contacts.
You're not going in.
Gotta follow orders.
Heavily armored hostile.
I think I...
Supply room access unlocked.